Hi everyone! Welcome to this screencast. Today we're going to talk about making comparisons in Spanish. Por favor, miren este video y te voy a enseñar cómo buscar la información, buscar to find. Hagan clic aquí en capítulo 6, al libro. Y en la cuarta página, aquí tenemos página 1, 2, 3, y a la cuarta página, we see making comparisons. Ahora voy a hablar en inglés. When you make comparisons in Spanish, it's just like you make them in English. You know, she is more athletic than I am. He is shorter than I am. We are better than they are. There is a formula that you use. I love setting formulas up for everything. So let's look back at here. Just as you can use más que to compare things, which it says over here in the box, recuerdas, you've learned to use más que to compare two things. Now más que means more than. And the example they've given you here is la clase de inglés es más interesante que la clase de matemáticas. Take a moment and figure out what that means. La clase de inglés es más interesante que la clase de matemáticas. You should have figured that English class is more interesting than math class. Well, just as you can use más que, you can also use menos que. An example here that they've listed is el disco compacto de los toros es menos popular que el disco compacto de los lobos. The CD by los toros is less popular than the CD by los lobos. As you see, we have these words that are highlighted in purple to show you the placement. Wherever you see that ... take a second and think, what am I going to put in that ... Did you figure it out? A comparative adjective, such as popular, intelligent, pretty, ugly, short, big, small. The adjectives bueno, bueno, which changes to buena, of course, malo, viejo, and joven and the adverbs bien and mal have their own comparative form. You know how to use bueno and malo. So, el libro bueno, the good book. La chica mala, the bad girl. Okay, those are different. Those are not the comparative adjectives that we're talking about. Más and menos are not used with these comparative adjectives and adverbs. So we're not going to say she is more good than me. Okay, ella es más buena. That doesn't even make sense. So all of these over here, the bueno, malo, viejo, joven, bien and mal, we are not using those with these comparative formulas. What we will be using for comparative formulas are mejor que, peor que, mayor que, menor que, better than, worse than, older than, and younger than. Now, these are going to be set up differently than más que and menos que. So if you look up here, menos que, and in the más que, we had más interesante que, menos popular que. We entered the adjective between the two words, correct? Yes. Over here with these comparatives, there's nothing that you're going to insert between them. I'm not saying she is better than, prettier than me. That doesn't even make sense. Or, he is worse, uglier than me. No. There's no, adjective that we're putting there. It's just basically, I am better than her. He is worse than John. Or Marjorie is older than Tomás. And Maria is younger than Richard. Okay? There's no adjective that needs to be inserted. So the words just get put next to each other. And in this last little note here, mejor, peor, mayor, and menor have plural forms that end in es. So going all the way back to first semester when it comes to gender and on agreement, when whatever we're talking about is plural, In this case, we're going to add an S, okay? And the example they give you was los discos compactos son mejores que los casetes. Okay, I've changed the screen here. I'm off of the textbook, and I typed a little something up so that we can go over it together. Something that you really need to pay attention to is the fact that when making comparisons, there is an important verb that we must always use, and that is ser. You know, ser is for origins, it's for date and time, it's also for professions, possession. Well, it's also for comparisons. The example, I am prettier than she is. Yo soy más bonita que ella. We're not as smart as he is. Nosotros somos menos inteligentes que él. I highlighted the form of said in green. And of course, I have my más and menos in blue, so you see exactly where you're going to enter your comparative. And the que is in purple, which goes after your descriptive adjective. Note the formula, más dot 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 que for more than, and menos dot 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 que for less than. Inside those dot dot dots is where you're going to put your descriptive word, okay? However, when following comparisons, the following comparisons do not need an adjective and thus do not get separated, okay? Better than, worse than, younger than, older than. Tú eres menor que yo. You're younger than me. Ella es mayor que tú. She's older than you. Again, the verb ser. You cannot do this without ser. So if you don't remember ser off the top of your head, soy, eres, es, somos, soy, son, you need to make sure you study up on that. I'm going to put another little note here with some asterisks by it. Gender non-agreement, it's always, okay? And it's going to change mejor to mejores when what you're comparing is plural. So over here we have tú eres menor que yo. I'm one person, okay? Or you are, excuse me. Ella es mayor que tú. She's one person. Over here, Marcos y Pablo son peores que yo en la clase de matemáticas. Now we're talking about two different people. Of course, we're going to go into the sixth box, but peores has to be plural. Las lámparas aquí son mejores que las lámparas allí. The lamps that are here are better than the lamps over there. And we see that I added es to mejor because it's plural. So right now we're going to do just a couple of examples together. And I'm going to flip to my back to the textbook. I'm just going to scroll down to the vocabulary list. And you may want to do that on your screen too. I'm going to focus on the descriptive words that we have up here. Bonito, feo, grande, importante, pequeño. And then of course you see here we have mejor, which becomes mejores. La mejor, el mejor, los mejores, las mejores. If I just want to say she's the best, there's no formula, right? Because I'm not saying she's better than someone else. I'm just saying ella es la mejor. They are the best. Ellos son los mejores. Menos que, peor or peores, so forth and so on. So I'm going to leave this right here so you can kind of refresh yourself on these words. And I'm going to go back to our worksheet now. Now, how would I say I am bigger than her? I'm going to give you just a second. I already put the verb ser in there for you for yo soy. What if I'm saying that something is more than, for example, I'm bigger, which phrase am I going to use? Más que or menos que, because that's more than or less than. Más que. So yo soy, excuse me, más grande than what goes next. Que ella. That's how we'll start that one off. Now I want to say, you are less important than me. You are less important than me. Take a moment and pause the video and see if you can do it on your own. Once you think you got the answer, press play. Okay, I'm assuming you paused and figured out an answer. So you are less important than me. I already have the conjugation of said here for you. So now it's either more than or less than. That's menos dot 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 que, correct? What is the word I'm using to describe? Importante. So I'm going to put that in the middle. Tú eres menos importante que yo. Yo soy la reina. All right. Now I want to say he is, él es más. Say he is more ugly. He is more ugly than Marcos, okay? So essentially I'm saying he's uglier than Marcos. So I would say él es más, and of course we always know más is going to go dot, dot, dot with a K, and then we said Marcos. So now, what would I insert in that dot, dot, dot? Feo. Very good. Now, what happens, do you think, if I change él to ella? Pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Okay, I'm assuming you paused the video to figure it out. Ella, that means she, right? Who am I saying is uglier than whoever? I'm saying she is uglier than Marcos. Because she's a girl, I'm going to need to change feo to fea. Always go back to your ginger nut agreement. We're going to do a couple more, but now let's flip to the comparisons that don't need to be separated because there's no adjective. I'm just saying better than, worse than. Let's say we are older than you. Nosotros. Now, what do I have to have next? Pause the video and figure it out. I'm assuming you paused. So what we need next is somos. Ser always has to be there. So nosotros somos, and I believe I said older than, so that would be mayor que, let's say tú for you. Forgive me, I don't remember what I said. Now, there's an error here, correct? Have you caught it? Mayor needs to be mayores. Why? Because nosotros is plural. Okay? I'm going to jump down one. Las camas, or actually I'm going to jump down two, to el despertador de Target. And I want to say Target's alarm clocks are better than Walmart's. Okay? Are better than. What do I need first? Ser. So el despertador de Target es better than, mejor que, and then I want to say Walmart's alarm clock. Mejor que el despertador de Walmart. Okay, I'm going to stop it here because our video is running a little bit long, but I want you to make sure that you do number 5, number 6, and number 8 for homework. There's no number 8 here, so I'm going to come up with one myself, and the subject is going to be Maria. And you can write these sentences however you want. So your subject is vosotros, las camas Tempur-Pedic, and then Maria. And just make up a sentence using any of these comparatives. All right. I hope you understand it. Make sure you finish the rest of the assignments online. Adios!